Cool. So we're here with HYPR here at Identiverse, and I'm a big fan of HYPR. Anything that's passwordless, but I think you guys have been kind of really leading this whole passwordless stuff. And you're out of New York City, which obviously makes me a big fan. So really wanted to grab you and just kind of talk to you about your product a little bit. If you can kind of just go, not necessarily super in depth, just kind of tell us like from a high level, what's your offering, what are the main use cases that you see that you can help accomplish with clients, and what are clients most happy about that you're being pulled in for?
Yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, first time I'm working for a company based in New York City. This is quite different for a technology company. So I've been here for 4.5 years. Prior to that, I was at Ping for a while, so I'm not new
Okay.
to identity space. So the unique proposition here with HYPR, I think, is we're really focused on identity assurance. So really making sure that the person that we think is on the other end of the line is in fact that person. And there are three components to that. So first, we want to make sure, when we first credential the user, we identify who they are, and we have high confidence level that it is in fact them, that person that you interviewed, or that person that is opening an account, depending on the use case, that it is in fact them.
How are you validating that confidence? Like, what
We
gives you
have
that?
I want to say, kind of a workflow
Okay.
process, and it's configurable where, we plug in different identification systems depending on, what the use case is and what we're allowed to do.
Okay.
We're allowed to ask for a driver's license in the consumer kind of world all the time. Asking for government identification on the workforce may not be allowed.
Okay.
So we can have a live chat with your boss or somebody or in case of insurance, maybe your agent. So get you kind of in a live chat room where we can look at your face, look at them, making sure it isn't you, using AI, using the human on the other end. The basic identity verification that we're used to, scanning driver's license, taking your face, making sure they correlate.
And are you doing all of that verification in-house, or are you using third party for that, for the back
We're
end?
using third party sometimes.
Okay.
Some of it is our technology, some of it really depends. And I think things will evolve, right? So the hackers will get more sophisticated,
Oh yeah.
and we will have to get more sophisticated as well, and probably rely more on third parties. But I want to say, you want to have the plumbing so you could evolve quickly as the threat changes.
Cool. So obviously, I mean, passwordless is, I would say, the biggest thing that you're known for.
Absolutely.
So how has that been going with the clients that you've been integrating with? What's kind of been the main successes that you've seen there?
So I see there are three different use cases, and they're quite different. So there's the enterprise use case. As an employee of any organization, you have a password. We want to get rid of that password. So log you into your Windows machine, to your Mac, to Active Directory, to Intra, to your single sign-on system, to all the different things that you currently typing in a password for. So that's one user and a lot of different systems to log you into. And then the other side of that might be the consumer. I have one web application I go to do my trading or to book my tickets. That's one thing, but a lot of users. The use cases are quite different. And then there is a use case in between that we're just kind of stepping into, is the B2B. So might be a sales agent for an insurance company.
Okay.
And they might be working for multiple insurance companies, but we still want to make this experience easy for them because, we want to make them more productive.
So do you find you have to do any education to these clients about passwordless, about, hey, look, no, you actually can get rid of passwords, or do you think that at this point everyone's kind of figured it out?
I think over the last probably 12 months, there's a big change.
Yeah.
And we don't have to explain what passwordless is anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what passkeys is, or at least the people, in our target audience, they know what this is. Sometimes they have questions about the technicalities of it, or they want our opinion on which type of passkey is better for which use case. But overall, I think the industry is familiar with FIDO, and it's more about how do we implement it, what are the edge cases, how do we get people motivated to do this.
So what vendors do you generally integrate the most with? Do you have I don't know, partners you work with a lot, or are there people like, hey, look, we can plug and play with these guys because we're in their connector store? Where does that kind of go?
Single sign-on is the most common integration point. So Ping, ForgeRock, Okta, sort of Azure AD, obviously. Endpoint system integration, so integrating with Windows and Mac. And I would say that's probably the biggest part of it.
Okay. What's implementation like? It's if someone says, hey, look, I need to get Passwordless, I want to do it this year. What's kind of like that time frame? What's that cycle look like?
So it ranges For consumer, obviously, the difference is you can invite them, but you can't make them do anything. But we have a customer that went live, so they're here. It's CVS. They had a speech at Identiverse. I think I can mention that. They went, I think, if I remember correctly, from the decision to actually do it to being live in about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And then scaled up to millions of users following the next 3 months or so.
Nice.
And this is all opt-in, so users are not required to do this.
So it's like
all
their,
opt-in.
so it's all customers, like SIAM side?
Yeah,
okay.
SIAM.
Nice.
And then on the workforce, it's a bit more complicated. You can tell people to do this, but there are more systems to integrate with. So depending on the motivation of the customer, it might be different. But I'd say one of the biggest successes is a company, it's a software company in Canada. There's about 1,000 people. And they went from a demo to 100% deployment in about 6 months.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really
That's
cool.
probably the record.
And that includes the procurement process and
It
everything
is
involved?
everything. They were very motivated.
Wow, apparently.
Based on the requirements from their customers that they were
Yeah.
selling their services to. So
Cool.
but they-
So you're saying Passwordless, I'm hearing FIDO2, passkeys. Are there other forms of Passwordless that you work with, or are you kind of staying towards the passkey route?
in my opinion, it's passwordless if there is no shared secret. So I think smart cards are passwordless,
Yep.
and I think FIDO is passwordless. I think everything else is not.
Okay.
There might be some technologies I'm not familiar with that are passwordless, but I think the main kind of litmus test is there a shared secret used to identify a user?
Yeah.
And if there is, then it's not passwordless.
So what about decentralized IDs, self-sovereign IDs? Have you been working to integrate with that at all? Or
No, we haven't actually.
No?
So this
Okay.
is an interesting area. I think it is also probably the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about decentralized identity right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So if people want to find out more information about HYPR, or if they want to contact you, what's the best way for people to reach out?
HYPR.com, and there is a form to
Fill
fill out, or connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll answer your questions.
Cool.
Either
Awesome,
way.
man. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you. Cool.